dreaming when you were talking about dreams.
All right. So we are
So I
actually
did not.
collating. So we are actually collating the questions we have not answered because what's happening is at times, and I realized this
Hmm.
today, that when Facebook is showing comments, it shows us most relevant comments by default. So many a times I'm
Oh,
actually not getting the comments which are being posted by people. So we realized today that
And
there's
I
an
think
option to
she's
say newest
saying,
first.
Nitin, I think she's saying that she posted the question in chat. Is that
No,
yeah,
no, no.
right?
because there was no other option coming.
No, no,
Huh.
she's talking about the Facebook comment only.
Okay, I think she said
Correct.
chat.
Facebook.
हाँ, Facebook नहीं, नहीं, Facebook पे. So I actually because I saw that question lucid dreaming वाला on the video later on, but by the time I saw
Right.
that video, it was already well, we had
Over.
completed the session. So we are collating all
Yeah.
those questions and then we'll probably be answering them in the last episode.
But on live, if you go live on YouTube, I think then there is that option of, discussion, and so probably you can see the messages.
Actually Facebook पे भी है messages. It's just that because we are
Hmm.
experimenting with this, we did not realize that there are certain options. So धीरे धीरे we are realizing that there are certain options which we are now becoming more
Okay.
aware of. पर वो आई थिंक इन द नेक्स्ट कपल मतलब अब तो के 5 के एपिसोड बचे हैं ट्रू टॉक के तो बट
Hmm. In
आई डू
fact, in the
होप
previous one also, I asked some questions, but then I deleted. I thought maybe it's not reaching or something.
नहीं नहीं इट वुड सो it would now because we are by default now I'm adding the newest wala option rather than that one.
Okay. Okay.
एक
So
second.
what topics are left now?
So today was sleep, tomorrow is weight loss, day after tomorrow is addictions, and then destiny of choice.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I shall attend all these three.
Thank you. Just second,
Thank
I'm
you.
just starting in 30 seconds. I'm just sharing a message with someone and I'm starting. So today we are talking about levels of transformation and submodalities. Right? Two very different topics and yet two very related topics. Now, before I go ahead, any questions for any of the things that we have discussed till now in the previous webinars? As of now, we
No,
have
I think
done soft C, metaphors, and reframing. Right? Perfect. Now, uh, we realized that in the previous episodes or in the previous webinars, we have looked at how do we work with setting a goal, how do we work with specific thoughts and specific emotions, right? And also, how do we use metaphors to be able to help people understand their problems, understand their solutions better. But a lot of what we do revolves around, especially in coaching, helping people intensify their positive emotions, right? And in therapy, helping people de-intensify their negative emotions. Does that make sense? Yes. Now, that's where submodalities comes into play. Now, what do I mean by submodalities? Anyone who can help me, who can answer that question?
They find cues, visual, auditory, like that. In
Correct.
visual, auditory,
Hmm.
to fine tune them, would it could be submodalities.
Correct.
If
So
you
the
take the
visual,
finer versions of visual,
correct. So if so, when we talk about visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, all of these are called primary modalities. They are the primary senses through which we are receiving information, right? At the same time, each of these sensory information can further be broken down into more elements. So for visual, it can be what? The color, the background, the brightness, the contrast, the distance, the location, right? So all of this becomes a part of submodality. Now we've actually discussed this in detail in the class and so on. So I'm just quickly going to jump to why are these submodalities important and how do you use them? Anyone who can answer that for me?
It it is like it qualifies each of the modalities, or it details the modalities, and probably it gives it fine tunes the representation.
Remember in soft C we talk about getting detailed sensory information, future.
Yeah,
These
gives a
are
deeper
the
understanding.
correct. These are those submodalities that can be added to the questions about the future to get a more sensory specific understanding of what the future would look like, or would sound like, or would feel like. Right? So that is one. Second, the answer lies in the question that I asked in the beginning, that at the end of the day, we are looking at helping people manage their emotions more effectively. We want them to be able to make themselves feel better when they want to and reduce the bad feeling that they're experiencing when they want to. And that's where submodalities can come very handy, because submodalities literally define how our mind perceives that particular experience or that particular information that is creating the emotional feeling. So we can make the color brighter, we can make the color more intense, less intense, we can increase the brightness, decrease the brightness, we can increase the volume, decrease the volume. Uh, is this all clear for all of us?
Can you give an example, please? That would help.
All right. So let's say you're working with a client and you are doing anchoring, right? And in anchoring, we would want to anchor an emotion when it is at its peak, 10 on 10. The client describes a
Hmm.
memory to you and tells you that I can imagine that memory now. And you ask the client on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is the good feelings? Let's say confidence. And the client says, I'm feeling confident at a level of 7. Now we want it to go up to 10,
Hmm.
right? But no matter what you are suggesting, that feeling is stuck at 7 or 8. So this is where you can
Okay.
bring in some modality. You can ask the client, are you noticing that memory in terms of a visual and auditory or a kinesthetic? If the client says that I'm noticing it in terms of visual, right? You can ask the
Hmm.
client, can you look at the colors? Can you look at the brightness and tell me if you were to make it more colorful, brighter? Would it help? Would it make it more powerful? And you will notice that it does make the memory more powerful.
Okay.
Right? So what you're doing is you are actually asking the client to not change the content of the memory. You're changing how the memory is being perceived by the mind in terms of the submodalities. Right? And why does this work? Or how do we know this works? It's simple, right? When you watch a horror movie with voice on, the feeling is completely different. You mute it and you watch it. Oh, the feeling is completely different.
True.
Right? So that's the difference that sound is making. So obviously, if I can increase the sound or decrease the sound when I'm perceiving a particular memory, that would have an influence on my memory, right? On the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
So that is the application of submodalities. Now, in submodalities, we've actually discussed a lot of techniques, and you can come up with your own variations. We have discussed about changing locations. We have discussed about swish. We have discussed about increasing brightness, decreasing brightness. There's a belief change process that completely revolves around some modalities. But basically, all of them revolve around this primary concept that you are changing the way the mind is perceiving that memory in terms of these submodalities. Any questions that we have on submodalities? Yes, no. Acha, and
No.
a lot of you are muted, huh? So if you want to
No,
talk, you can unmute yourself.
no.
No. All right, perfect. So this is primarily about submodalities. One additional submodality that we discussed, which is very powerful, is when you ask people to remember a memory where they felt, for example, happy, and then you literally ask them to reimagine the memory and check where do they feel the happiness in the beginning, at the peak, and in the end. So you're literally kind of identifying the pattern that the body follows to be able to create that feeling, right? For those people who come to you who are not just seeking therapy but are also in their quest to become more mindful, they want to develop a sense of mindfulness. There is no process which is more powerful than that is, because you're literally training people to be able to become mindful of how they are experiencing sensations in their body when they're experiencing different emotions. And normally people can take probably years from normal meditative processes to be able to identify all of that. Right? So that's a very powerful process, but not a process that you work with clients if you are dealing with really deep, intense negative emotions. Then we will stick to what we do in terms of inner child and EET and all of that. But if you're looking at helping people identify their normal feelings, day-to-day feelings, be mindful of them, be aware of them, and be able to play with them when they would like to, then that particular activity can be extremely useful. I hope all of you are clear about what process I'm talking about.
Yes.
Brilliant. Now, so that's about submodalities. Any questions that you have on submodalities? Because otherwise I'll move to levels of transformation. Because submodalities, I think, otherwise once you understand this concept, this is everything else.
So
in
we can
submodalities
use
is
it.
very simple.
We can use it with the new concept of the garden also, where we can increase the colors and maybe the smell becomes more positive of the flowers. We can use it here as well.
I would ask you to do it with the new positive garden, not with the negative garden.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You can, correct. So the way I
Sorry,
would
Nitin.
work with
Okay.
that, just a second. So the way I would work with the transformational metaphor, combining it with some modalities, is this. I would ask them to imagine the old garden, the new garden, make them go through the entire process till they've transformed the old garden into the new garden. After they feel that they've made the new garden as good as they could have in terms of the content, what is present
Hmm.
in that garden, then I would ask them to also see if they would want to add some colors to it, make it a bit more brighter, or any other thing that they want to change in that garden from the point of view of some modalities. But that will be done at the end after the client has completely transformed the garden.
But don't you think that here the client needs to have the same understanding? Let's say brighter colors means happiness, or positive emotions only.
I am going to
What if
only
the
ask the
client thinks,
client. So our brighter color and colorful things is just an example. When you work with a client, you always leave it to the client. Tell the client that if you would like to change certain colors in it, if you would like to change certain the level of brightness in it, they can decide whether they want to make it brighter or less brighter, more colorful or less colorful. You are just giving them
okay,
examples of what all they can play with, how they want to play with it to make it really more powerful. You leave it to them,
okay, got it.
right? Perfect. Anything else? Any other questions that we have about submodalities?
Not me.
So are all of us good? Then I'll move to levels of transformation. So I'm sharing the screen for levels of transformation. Anyone who can tell me what was levels of transformation while I write this down? Yes. Are we all there? So anyone who can tell me what is levels of transformation? You may have to unmute yourself.
It is a process that intensify some positive emotions right from the uh, you know I think then we can take that narration of the story of the narration that given by the client. Yes, am I on the
Hmm.
right track?
Can you
And we can intensify the emotions based on five or six levels, right?
no? So that's not levels of transformation. When you're talking about intensifying emotions, that's still about intensifying emotions because eventually you're leading to uh, either anchoring or you're de-intensifying emotion because you're working with intense negative emotions. By the way, in submodalities, when we talk about associating a client or disassociating a client, both of them are also submodalities. When you ask people to look at the entire event from outside their body, that's also
Okay.
a submodality, right? But levels of transformation is different. Levels of transformation is an idea that when we have a
Yeah,
situation in our life,
belief system,
correct,
and yeah. Yes, yes.
correct. So levels of transformation is an idea that when we have a situation in our life, when we have a problem in our life, that problem, that situation is made up of multiple levels, right? At the gross level, at its base level, is the environment, because that is where we know that the problem exists. True.
Yeah,
The second level is behaviors. Third, skills. Fourth, beliefs. Fifth, identity. And sixth, that envelops all of them, is oneness. Do you all remember this?
yes, yes.
Any questions that any of
Is
you
this
have on this?
the same as neurological levels? Six neurological levels, Robert Dilitz.
This is neurological levels. So levels of transformation, neurological levels, both of them are the same. It's
Same.
two ways of saying the
Oh,
same thing.
And
oh,
let me ask
okay.
you. See, if this is what we write the future in this, right? These six and these five things, right? When we write the future,
So in the future, we are actually not referring to beliefs and we are not referring to identities at all. You're referring to the grosser things in terms of environment, behaviors,
yeah,
and skills,
yeah, yeah, correct.
right? All right. So is this clear? Do we have any questions on these, the levels?
When we write this
No,
neurological levels, we write upside down. I felt like when you wrote it is the other way you have written.
No, it doesn't matter. You can write any way down. See, when you're writing it down, you're writing it
Okay.
down because you want to explain it. It just depends on how do you
Uh,
want to explain it. Do you want to start with oneness first and then go downwards, or do you want
okay.
to start with environment? When I'm working with
Okay.
clients, uh, I'm just muting everyone right now, please.
Thank you.
And you can unmute yourself, whoever wants to talk. So, yeah, so I was saying that when the idea is to explain it to the clients, right? I prefer to start with environment because environment is the most gross thing. It's the most observable thing that people can understand. So when you begin with the understanding that people already have, something that they can grasp, and then you make it a bit more abstract, it's easier for them to follow you. But if you begin from abstract and then you try to bring it down, many a times they lose you in the beginning itself, and then they're not following you completely. So that's the reason I prefer going from environment up to oneness when I'm explaining it to people. Okay, but I'm sure it's a personal choice. It's how you want to explain it to your clients. Now, why would you explain it to your clients, and when would you use it with your clients? Anyone who can answer that, please?
I mean, if you want to, elicit the values or belief system, if you want to go into the core, engines of a person, we can maybe use it.
Okay, which is one.
from where, say for example, from where the particular response comes or behavior comes, or whether it is in an identity level or belief level, or
Yeah, but when
to
are we
empower
choosing
the
this? Like that's almost like my whims and fancies that as a therapist, mera man kiya to I would use levels of transformation because I want to go deeper with a client. The question is, when would you
yes.
want to go deep? When would you want to use this process? What is the indicator that the
uh,
client gives you when you
in
want to use this process?
any change work we can use it.
But then you also have a belief change process directly with the submodalities, which is actually faster. So why would we go for this
Yeah.
bigger process?
Submodalities are actually superfluous. I mean, peripheral in nature. When we go, I mean, deep levels of changes, we can go to the core where like belief, identity, or
Again,
oneness.
my question is, how are you deciding whether you want to go to a deeper level of
Okay.
transformation or not? Because technically, with every client, you should go deeper level of transformation. Then why do we even have a
Yes.
belief change process from submodality? And to be
Mm,
frank, the belief change process in submodality is not a surface level process. No? The belief change process in submodality is a very effective process which can create some remarkable shifts in beliefs.
okay.
When you see a conflict in the external behavior and the belief system, probably then, I mean, when the other things are not working.
Okay, but there you already know what the belief is, and therefore you're able to identify the conflict, right?
Yeah.
Why are we still using levels of transformation? If it's a behavioral issue, we could still use reframing. If it's a belief issue, a specific belief issue, then you can still use you can still use the belief change process. Why levels of transformation? See, when you're working with clients, start asking yourself this question. When you're choosing a particular technique, why are you choosing the technique? There are so many that you have learned. And
Is
that's
this
the journey from a good
to
to a brilliant therapist. Sorry,
is this
boliye.
to bring the client into sync in all the aspects of environment, behavior, skill, belief, and identity?
Yeah, but technically, when you're doing software, you're already taking care of most of those things. And if you add reframing and belief change process to it, the other things are also taken care of. So my question still remains: why specifically levels of transformation, and when levels of transformation?
Nitin, Satish here.
In the case of coaching,
Everything is being used in terms of coaching. सतीश आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है, वापस से बोलेंगे please एक बार जोर से?
अभी आ रही है आवाज?
हाँ अभी आ रही है.
हेलो. हाँ, तो एक्चुअली मैंने ये यूज नहीं किया है, लेकिन एक थ्रू रीडिंग आई आई कुड गेट इट कि मुझे लगता है कि अगर प्रॉब्लम रिलैप्स हो रहा है बार बार, तो हायर लेवल पे जाके अगर कुछ चेंज वर्क करे तो शायद बाकी के प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व हो जाएंगे, या
So one is, which
दैट्स
is correct. One is if you've used reframing. So generally when there's a relapse, we go to reframing, right?
राइट.
Now, in case there is a relapse after reframing, then it's an indicator that we need to work with something deeper than that, which is where levels of transformation would come in, or working with deeper intense emotional issues come in. Now, if you notice that the client is showing signs of deeper emotional issues, and that is what is causing the relapse, then you will go back into inner child and all of that. But if you realize that the client is coming to you not for a therapy purpose, just for a coaching purpose, they are not suffering from deeper emotional issues per se, at least on the face of it, and you have done reframing, and even after reframing you have had a relapse, then levels of transformation would be a good process to choose, because the indicator is that I've already used level reframing, and that's not, that is still leading to a relapse. Is the idea clear for all of you?
Yeah.
would it work if the client is not very literate?
I don't think literacy has actually anything to do with that. If as long as the client can listen to you, you can explain it to the client. It depends on how effectively can you explain it to a client. Client's literacy has
Okay.
nothing to do with it. You will have to translate this into
Okay.
the client's language, obviously, but that's doable.
Okay. Yes.
Someone has a backdrop
Yes.
sound. Can please you mute yourself? All right. Huh. So where was I? Huh. So that's one indicator that if after reframing there's a relapse. Second, there are times when you're working with clients and you realize that there are multiple behaviors that you're working with in terms of levels of in terms of soft C. But like there are, you realize that there is not one belief that are leading to 5 behaviors, but there are like 15 behaviors and there are 3 or 4 beliefs. So now either you can work with each of them individually via the belief process and each behavior individually via the reframing process, or because you're able to create clusters in terms of how there are certain behaviors which are being driven by the same belief and there are multiple such beliefs, then it may make sense to go to reframing. Sorry, it may make sense to go to levels of transformation. Clear? Making sense? Yes, no?
Can you please once again?
Example.
All right. So let's say
Yeah,
you're
with
working
an
with a
example.
client. You're working with a client where the client wants to make more money. And in order to make more money, they have to do 15, 20 tasks, right? The 20 tasks that they are not able to do. There are other things that they are doing, but there are 20 tasks that they are not able to do. And when you're talking to them, you're realizing that there is like an underlying theme that is common in like brackets of 5. So for example, I don't feel like doing certain, I don't feel like marketing, I don't feel like creating content, and I don't feel like talking to people. All three of them are coming from a similar area where they've told you that I feel people judge me, right? So now 3 behaviors are coming from the same belief. And similarly, like this, they've actually given you other behaviors which are coming from other beliefs. But there are literally like chunks that there are 4, 4, 5, 5 behaviors which are broken into applications of certain beliefs that they're having. So you're literally working with 5 beliefs simultaneously. Now, because you're working with 5 simultaneous beliefs and 20 behaviors, going through reframing and uh, belief change process from some modality would require you to do like multiple processes. Here, levels of transformation becomes one process that takes care of all of that. Is the idea clear now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if this is clear till here, then there's another place. एक second, I'm muting everyone again. Sorry. So there's another place where levels of transformation becomes very handy. And that is when you are closing the coaching session. See, many a times when you have been doing sessions with a client, you will realize that the client feels a sense of comfort because you are there with them. And then when you're closing the sessions, they at times feel that I don't have anyone to bank on. While they can still give you a call and talk to you and so on, but there's still a feeling that I'm not going to regularly do something which will help me. And that's where levels of transformation also comes in, because you can literally give this as an activity to people that they can follow with themselves every day. And every morning when they wake up, when they do this process with themselves, it's literally an indicator telling their mind what behaviors, what skills, what beliefs, what identity is their system working on today. So it creates like a very, very structured uh, process for the mind to follow on a day-to-day basis. It's like when we get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we take a bath, we have our tea. So there's like a plan that the mind is following, right? The levels of transformation process can make that plan more more concrete. Make sense till here?
Activity will involve all will involve all these 5 levels, right?
Correct. So the activity actually is simple. The way we do the activity is that you ask the client to stand and then imagine 6 circles in front of them. One circle for environment, one circle for behavior, one for belief, basically one circle for each, which is the circle of oneness, and make that circle as powerful as the client can make. Right?
Can you
It
please
should be
repeat? Your voice stopped.
short. So you make the ask the client to imagine the 6 circle and make the 6 circle as powerful as they can make it. Well, they should really look at that 6 circle from where they are and feel that if and when I get into that circle, that is an experience that I'm looking forward to. That has the potential to change my life. So you're literally making it like divine, you're making it really powerful, whatever words work for the client.
Are they concentric circles?
No, these are six circles, one concentric circle.
Separate circles.
Correct. These are six separate circles.
Separate circles.
These are six separate circles. Perfect.
Can this be done via video conference also?
Uh, if you know that the client is not having intense negative emotions for sure, okay, then you can do it via video conference. But I would suggest then you don't make the client physically walk into the circles. Make them sit and imagine that in their mind.
Which can be done.
It can be done. As long as the
Mentally.
interconnection is completely dependable and you are sure that the client does not have an intense negative emotion.
Thanks.
Right? All right. So once the
Also,
client imagine, please.
can we do with pregnant lady?
Which month?
6th or 5th month, 5th or 6th?
So generally with women who are post 4th month of pregnancy,
Hmm.
we generally don't use any advanced processes with them, which will ask them to tap into their negative emotions or negative beliefs or negative identities, because that has a potential to trigger certain issues. And then it's not just the mother, it's also the child whose life is at stake, right? Not life per se, but it can have like a, a major effect on the child. So the ladies who are pregnant post 4.5 months, we only
Hmm.
stick to positive suggestions and affirmations with them. If then statement, positive suggestions, just white light meditation, something on those lines. You're not going to touch upon
Softly?
anything that has the potential of creating touching on a problem. क्या बोल रहे थे आप श्रेया?
Okay, but soft C we can do, na? Soft C,
Softly you
the
can do
future
because that you are very
writing
cognitive.
and
Correct. And the future that you're writing will always be positive. I doubt a client will want to write something negative in the future.
yeah.
Right?
Even
So that
metaphors we can do now.
huh?
Even metaphors we can do now. Garden metaphor, transformational metaphor.
No, no. The transformational metaphor I wouldn't do with a pregnant lady, only because the transformational metaphor also asks the lady to go into the problem garden,
Yeah, true.
right? So any place where you're going to refer to a problem, I wouldn't do that with a pregnant lady, and nor would I recommend anyone else to do that. Just with the
So you
pregnant
mean
lady, work towards
inner child
no
inner child also should not be done. EFT
nothing
can be.
nothing related to level 4, level 5 will be done with pregnant ladies beyond 4.5 months.
Okay.
The only things that you can do would revolve around writing a positive future, giving them, guiding them into a hypnotic state for relaxation, giving them positive suggestions, giving them future, helping them see, imagine a better future. You can do if then, you can do anchoring. Um, yeah, you can do all of these, but nothing which will touch upon a negative emotion.
Okay, okay.
And if the pregnant lady is already feeling negative, so there are times when a lady would give you a call and tell you that I'm just muting everyone for now. You can just unmute yourself. So, if you receive a call from a pregnant lady asking you that I am in a state where I'm feeling emotionally vulnerable and I'm feeling really anxious, can you help me? In that case, simply do the metaphor process of breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, converting that anxiety into a color and breathe it out. That's it. Don't touch upon any intense negative emotion related things. Malab, don't deal with deeper issues right now. Let them deliver the baby, and then after that, you can do whatever processes need to be done after that. Clear?
Yes.
Yes? Brilliant.
Yes.
Uh, Good. Now, once the person has defined the sixth garden, you have also asked them to look at each of the gardens, starting with environment, behavior, skill, belief, identity, and oneness. You will physically ask them to step into the environment circle and ask them to describe what the environment would be like, I would generally explain the levels of transformation theory to people beforehand so that they understand what is expected of them when they do the process. Clear? Yeah, and then you take them forward where they're describing to you in each circle what they notice about that circle. If they're in environment and they start talking about behaviors, tell them that we will talk about behaviors in a different circle. Right now, I just want you to focus on the environmental factors. When there are behaviors, if they're talking about anything else, tell them that we'll talk about those things later. Right now, just focus on the behaviors. You're kind of creating anchors with those circles, that each circle represent a particular aspect of the problem. This basically gives you information in a more structured way, even if you want to make notes. Does the client need to really describe that? The answer is no. But if they describe it, you'll be able to make notes if you want to. Right?
There we can use submodalities also, no? There, can we
No.
use submodalities in such a case?
Not
Or is
when
it
you're
not?
going
No.
forward. When you're going forward, the client is just telling you whatever comes to their mind. Because we are looking for content,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yeah.
Can
Uh,
you give an example of what the person may talk in an environment circle?
So, for example, you're working with someone who has a weight issue. They get into the environment circle and they'll say, people around me tell me that I look fat. That when I go to buy dresses, the size of dress that I look that fit me is extra large or double extra large. When I look at myself in the mirror, I am able to notice the chubbiness in my body. When uh, when I look at, depending upon obviously the size and the health of the person, when I visit a doctor, the doctor verbally tells me that you need to start taking care of your health now, you need to start taking care of your weight now. So these are all environmental factors. This is environment telling them there is a problem.
Okay. Okay, clear.
Basically anything and everything outside of them, which reminds them that there is a problem that they need to resolve. Right? Then they can go into then they can go into behaviors. They'll describe about their behaviors. There they can say that I'm not going to the gym, I'm eating a lot, I wake up late, I sleep late, I eat multiple gulab jamuns when I start eating them. So all of these are examples of their behaviors, which is what they will talk about during the behavior session. Then the next can be skills, which is where they'll talk about what skills they have, what skills they don't have. The fact that I'm not able to control myself, the fact that I'm not able to manage my urges, the fact that I don't have patience, the fact that I'm not able to communicate clearly, all of these will fall into skills.
Would that be resources also?
Resources will become a part of environment.
Okay. Thank you.
Right? After they describe their skills, then they will go into belief, and that's when they will start saying that I feel, well, unloved, unwanted, worthless, helpless, and all of these feelings. Correct? All of these beliefs. With money, some people would say money is useless, money is the root cause of all evil. And I'm sure there are a lot of interesting beliefs that people can give you. Make sense? Right?
Yes.
And then identity will be, who are they identifying with? I'm just going to mute everyone again. All right. So the next is identity, where you are literally looking at where is the client getting those beliefs from, right? It's my mother, it's my father, it's my friends. Um, the fact that I have a role as a trainer, the fact that I am a son, I am an Indian. So what are those things? What are those people that they're identifying with, from where they're actually borrowing this belief? Because we're not born with our beliefs, right? And then the
Yes.
oneness circle, which is where everything becomes like the best there is. They are in touch with that oneness, one connection. They identify their true potential. the infinite potential that they have. Basically, you're making it as powerful as you can. Okay, Malab, if I have to kind of put it across in a way, I would say that you're literally giving the client a feeling that I'm enlightened in this circle.
Not very
Right?
clear. What exactly in this circle? I mean, if you can give an example of, let's say, the weight thing that you were saying.
The one, see, in all the other circles, the client is talking about where things are happening in their life. In the oneness circle, they are just experiencing the fact that they've come from the same source, that they are an infinite potential. Right? So here the client is not
Okay.
describing it. The client is just experiencing the infinite potential that they have within them. And that's where you can come up with your suggestions that you're in touch with the oneness, you're one with the oneness, as divine as the divinity itself, as pure as the purest form of being. Malab, then you can like let your creativity flow. Right? You really want the client to experience that feeling, and you will know that the client is experiencing it because the client's body language completely changes in the sixth circle. There's a smile on their face, there's a very different kind of a calmness that settles down on their face, the body language becomes more, the body is more straight, the chin is more held high. You literally notice the body language changing of the client in the sixth circle. It's almost like, remember we spoke about circle of excellence. This is like circle of excellence multiplied by 10. Right? And once they can experience that feeling, then you are simply asking them to walk backwards. And as they walk backwards through each circle, the circle transforms. Right? So their identity begins to change, their beliefs begin to change, their skills begin to change, their behaviors begin to change, their environment begins to change. And eventually, they are able to imagine themselves in a new environment where they would like to be. And in that process, they've actually identified what their new beliefs will be, what are the new skills that they need to work with, what are the new behaviors that they are going to be involved in, right? And what would the new environment look like? So for those of, so another place where you can use levels of transformation is if you're noticing that the client is still finding it difficult to describe their future and plan of action clearly, and you've already done the transformational metaphor process. Then, in order to assist them to imagine what the future would look like, you can also do levels of transformation. But then after that, you will go back to soft C. If you're doing it in the beginning, if you're doing it in the end, then you've already done the soft C completely. This is like a closure icing on the cake. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
First, they have to see. First, they have to imagine the six circles, right? And they have to, first is the environment circle. They have to see the present situation, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And second, the skill circle or whatever circle, then the behavior circle. Third one is, so what are the behavior changes they want to acquire? Okay, they first and skills, what are the skills they need to acquire to reach their goal or whatever desired outcome.
No, you're talking about when they are going ahead or when they are coming back.
Before they're entering the circles, they are imagining, right?
No, they are not imagining any of this right now.
Okay.
Just a second. So let me just draw it.
They are just imagining 6 circles ahead of them.
Correct. They're imagining 6 circles ahead of them. You have asked them to write the words in each of those circles so that there is like a very clear understanding of which circle represents what with their eyes closed. Then you ask them to step into the environment circle and you ask them to describe not what environment they want to create. You're asking them to describe what is the current environment which tells them there's a problem. Is this clear?
Come
Can you
again, please.
repeat your last statement?
That they are describing what is the current environment which is indicating that there is a problem that they have in their life. So if you are working with weight, they are entering into the environment and not telling you that I want my family members to tell me that I look very slim, because that's the desired outcome. Here they are supposed to talk about the current situation. What do their family members tell you right now that makes them realize that there's a problem with their weight? Clear? When they go into the behavior
Nitin, may I
circle,
ask
they
you?
tell you what are the. Yes, boliye.
May I ask one thing? Sorry. Actually, is it the weight or something which which the client feels bad, or client's behavior is the problem now here, or
No, no.
others saying you are too weighing or something, or suppose what could be the problem here in this case actually? I mean, the
Can
client
you
which
use
client wants to address.
in levels of transformation? You are working with overall goals. You are not
Because
working
in
with one
environment
behavior.
okay.
You are not working with one
Okay.
behavior. You are not working with one belief. You are not working with one thought or one emotion or one skill. Because for each of them, there are other
Yeah, yeah.
processes which are better, which are faster. You are using levels of
Yes, it's an
transformation
integrity.
only when
Yeah.
the client is trying to achieve a bigger outcome. And in that outcome, there are multiple behaviors, multiple beliefs that need to change.
Yes.
Right? So obviously there are multiple indicators in the environment that there's a problem. So here weight is the problem that you're working with. You can work with financial issues as a problem. You can work with relationship issues as a problem.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
we talk about different
Yeah.
areas of your life,
Can this be an integrated, summative process or something to conclude a range of processes? Can this be done so?
that's what I said in the beginning, right? That one of the times where you use levels of transformation is in the end when you're closing the session. Because then this gives the client like an indicator, okay, there's something that I can depend on when I go back. This is like one process that incorporates everything else, or most of the other things.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Right? But what you're using it for is when your client is looking at creating and achieving an overall goal. When we talk about different areas of your life, right? Finances, career, health, personal growth, social life. So you are looking at any of these areas where the client wants to create a proper change, which would require multiple changes in their life. That's when you're using levels of transformation.
Nitin, just to add, this is Suruchi here.
Yeah.
I had used level of transformation for one particular thing. Like I had a Dr. Rege with me. She was not able to write her research paper. The reason being, when she was in US, one of the professor had just commented that you are a very bad writer. And whenever she used to go ahead and write and everything, so all other processes, like even the inner child did not work with her. However, when I did this process, okay, she was able to figure out that no matter what, even with the inner child, there is still that mark in her unconscious mind wherein she remembers that that person has said that I am not able to write very well, and there were 10 other people who always told her that you are an awesome writer.
Correct.
So it was like her own behavior which was taking her behind, and this thing worked for that.
Perfect. So while levels of transformation will work for that, I still think levels of transformation is an overkill for that, because she's directly telling you about a specific time, right? A specific event in her life, which is like left an imprint, which is deeper. So
that's right.
The process, correct. So the process that we do in, I don't remember the level now, but when we do the re-imprinting process, where you ask people to play with, you actually ask them to do the process with their eyes open, think about the past experience, and then you put items for each of the people who played a role. We'll actually talk about it in
Even
detail
that
in one of
failed
the
with
levels.
her. Even that failed with her. Only this thing, it worked, which was very surprising. She understood it is her own behavior which she needs to change.
Yeah, but that okay. I'm actually not sure what does this mean, because even before I begin any process, ideally the client would be aware of the fact that their behavior is what has to change. They are not able to change it is a separate issue that I understand. right?
Okay.
But if the process is bringing in that reality, that realization that I need to work with my behavior only, okay, then probably the earlier debriefing could have been done differently. Okay, and again,
Oh,
because it worked for the client, that's brilliant. I'm simply saying that this would still be an overkill over there. There could be easier, simpler processes you can do. That's the only thing. If it worked, it worked. It's brilliant. Well, eventually, that's what you're working with the client, right? The client needs to get the result,
yeah.
right? So because it worked, that's brilliant. It's just that if I were to use work with the client, um, there are other processes which I would probably use before this. And like you mentioned that you've already tried using other processes, and because they did not work, then you went on to this. Then that's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? There was someone else who was saying something in the background. I'm sorry, I couldn't. Okay. Anyone who has a question, please let me know. So I'm going to go ahead for now. So in the behavior circle, they're telling you what is the current behavior that they are involved in, which is creating a problem, or the current behavior that they are not involved in that they should be doing. So, for example, for weight, someone may say I'm eating more gulab jamuns, and someone may also say that I'm not going to the gym regularly. Both will become a part of the behavior, things that they are doing and things that they are not doing, that they must be doing, that they should be doing. In skills, again, they will tell you either the skills that they lack currently or the skills that they have but they're not using effectively. Beliefs will be what beliefs they have currently which are creating a problem. So when you're going this side, it's all about what is happening currently, and this will all generally be negative. Is this clear till here?
Yes.
Yes. Brilliant.
Yes.
What would be there in identity?
So in identity, for example, a client may say that my mother used to look like this, and a lot of people tell me that I look like my mother. Some people would say that people have told me that after you deliver a baby, you any which was put on. So I'm identifying with that idea of a lady who has delivered a baby, right? Some people may say, oh, I've been told that Asians are more chubby comparatively. So I'm identifying with my understanding of what an Asian looks like. So whatever is the role or whoever is the person that they're identifying with, is the idea clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes. And then in oneness, it's like everything is going to dissolve. All the problems that they spoke about from here to here, they're all going to dissolve the moment they get into that oneness, because that oneness is a place where they're getting in touch with their own infinite potential. They're realizing all of this is happening in my life because I was no longer connected to my infinite potential. And that's the reason why you want them to feel really powerful and really good in that circle. Only when they feel really powerful and when they start coming backwards, this is the place where they would tell you about the new identities that they are developing. Who are they resonating with now? What are the new positive beliefs that they have? The new skills that they are developing or that they would develop in the future? The new behaviors that they're involved in or the old behaviors that they've changed? And what would the new environment look like? So the idea is that we are creating a change at the highest level so that it can spread downwards. If you directly try to work with environment without changing your behavior, changing an environment is difficult. But if you work with your behavior, changing an environment becomes easier. But when you work with the behavior, if you've not got the skill, changing the behavior is difficult. So you need to work with skill. While you are trying to develop a skill, if you don't have the right beliefs, then it will become difficult to develop the skill. So therefore, you are kind of going forward to first understand what is the problem at a meta level, and then you are coming backwards to resolve the problem from
Next
up down
question.
back down. Sorry, Bully.
While coming back, if there are maybe in any one stage, the person is not really able to make everything positive. Let's say one or two still negative identities or beliefs or skills remain. Then do we repeat the entire process, or is it just good doing it once?
No, so the idea is if the client tells, so let's say you have gone into oneness and from oneness they went back into identity and they said that most of it is changed, but one or two is left, right? That I'm still able to identify with certain things which are negative. You can once again
Yeah.
ask them to go back into the oneness circle, let that oneness really envelop them so much so that they're feeling so powerful that you'll be able to change anything. And then ask them to come back into identity circle,
Okay.
right? It's like the oneness circle again becomes like the recharging point. Right? Now, if
Right.
after that also the client feels that no, I'm already feeling really powerful, and I know that ideally I should be able to break away from this identity, but I'm still not able to, then that's basically an indicator of a positive intention. Do the reframing process then and there in the identity circle itself. Once you do the
Okay.
reframing process, they will tell you that yeah, now the identity has changed.
Can you
Yeah,
give an
got it.
example?
The same thing. So the client says that I am able to break away from all the identities, but I still like very strongly feel that I am an Indian. How can I like a Pakistani? Okay. While I understand at an intellectual level that we all are one, and I can feel that oneness in my body, but still I'm just not able to let go of that anger or that hatred that I have towards them. That identity that Indians are supposed to hate Pakistanis is too strong, right? So then basically there's a positive intention why the system is holding on to that particular belief, because otherwise once you say that I'm feeling one and I know intellectually that we are one, I should not be holding on to this. I should be able to break away from it, but it's not breaking away. Then the system is getting something by holding on to it, which then becomes reframing. And then I literally do the reframing process, connect to that part in you which has a positive intention behind not being able to break away from this identity, and then just run the entire reframing process. After the reframing process is over, the client will eventually tell you that yeah, I'm noticing now that the identity has changed. Clear?
So then the
That must
person
be a very
again goes
deeper
to
So,
level
oneness.
change.
No, then
Sorry.
once the identity has changed, they can simply go to the belief and then change the belief. You will only go into oneness
Okay.
if a particular circle is not transforming again. Still,
Okay.
someone else was saying something in the background.
yeah, so if take a worst scenario, if we did not install the finger signal, then what will you do?
If you've not installed the finger signal, then you can tell them that while you're standing in that identity circle, mentally ask yourself
Mhm.
what is making you hold on to this identity, and you will intuitively have an answer, right? So run the process through
Okay.
body sensations rather than finger signals. Reframing we have discussed in
Okay.
both ways, right? That you can do reframing with body signals and you can also do it through finger signals.
Okay. Okay.
If you have installed finger signals, it makes your life easier and it makes the process faster. But if you haven't, you can still go through the body sensation process,
Okay.
Uh, maybe a silly
right?
question, but then if let's say at skill there was one or two things which were still left, and you take the person back again to oneness. So do we do the identity belief again, or we go from oneness to skill directly?
So they will have to walk back because they're going forward first. So from skill, they will go into beliefs, they will go into identity. And when they come back, they will come back also from identity to belief, belief to skills. But the identity and belief will already be transformed. So they wouldn't have to wait in that circle. They will tell you that, yeah, this is already transformed. I think this is perfect.
Okay, the steps need not be omitted, but then it's going to be a faster process.
Correct. Matlab, because the way you have asked them to imagine it in their circle, from skill to oneness, there are two circles in between. So they will not be able to skip the circles. Now that's just a part of their imagination.
Okay, yeah.
Right? It's just that they will tell you there's nothing else over here because I think we have already dealt with these.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, clear. Now, there's also a possibility that when you were doing the levels of transformation process, it's taken longer than what you expected, and therefore if they get stuck in a particular circle, you may not be able to do a alternate process in the circle itself, right? For example, you did all of this, you finally came to behavior, and by the time you reach the behavioral circle, it's already an hour 10 minutes, and you know that you have a that the client needs to leave for some reason. Now you can't stretch the process longer, but a particular behavior is still stuck. Make sense still here?
Yeah.
So what you do is bring them to the environment, let them notice how with the current changes that they've been able to create, the environment would still be far better than what it is currently. And then separately in the next session, make a note of what the behavior was that you have not been able to transform through the levels of transformation, and run the reframing process over there for that specific behavior. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
What happens if they are stuck at the skill or the belief system itself?
So wherever you are stuck, so let's say the client had 10 beliefs that they wanted to change, they've been able to change 9 of them, one belief is not changing, right? But still the fact that they've changed 9 beliefs will influence the skills, their behavior, their environment to some extent, right?
Right.
So you will complete the process with whatever beliefs have been transformed, and the one or two beliefs that have not changed, you will ask them to let you know so that you can make a note of it, and in the next session you can specifically work with those beliefs either through a belief change process or corrective therapy, or we have other tools for that, right?
Right. Okay.
What about the skill and behavior? So we skip that
No, you will
because
do
of
all of
paucity
them.
of time.
No, you will do all of them. When you are doing levels of
Okay.
transformation, you are going to ask them to go through all the processes, all the steps, going forward and coming back. You're not skipping any step. In a particular step, if certain changes are not taking place, you're just writing that down so that you will handle that later on. But the other circles will still be addressed as you're going back.
Okay.
जितना address किया जा सकता है. Is this clear? And also when you're actually walking back doesn't take too much of a time. Matlab, when I worked with clients, I've actually realized if going forward they're taking 40 minutes, if they take 40 minutes, in even with 40 minutes of going forward, when they come back, the coming back takes like 5 minutes, 7 minutes at max. With all the circles. मतलब 1-1.5 मिनट से ज़्यादा किसी सर्कल में रुकते नहीं है. Because you're already saying you're in touch with that oneness which is transforming everything. अब उससे ज़्यादा powerful क्या बचा? Is this clear?
Yeah.
Yep. Brilliant. And then in the end, you ask them to step out of the environment circle. Then they are able to imagine the entire new environment in front of them, knowing that the new environment is far better than the old environment. And with the image of them stepping into the new environment, they slowly open their eyes and come back to the present. So eventually, the client will still open their eyes here and not in any of the circle. But they will open their eyes here with an imagination in their head that they are stepping into the new environment. Well, the second leg has become a bit too longer. It wasn't expected to be so long, but any which ways, that's the idea. That they're kind of now jumping into the new environment, right?
Yes.
Is the idea clear for all of us?
Yes.
Perfect. Any questions on this?
No.
Yes, no.
No.
How effective
No.
would this be with intense negative emotions?
I would first do the other intense negative emotion processes, and then I will probably use this as a closure process. I wouldn't use this to directly deal with the intense negative emotion, because in this process, the emotions are actually not getting released. Well, while we may work with identity and we may work with beliefs, but the emotion also has there's an important component of emotion which is it's stored in the body. So that release is not happening in this process, right?
So as a closure tool, this can be used.
Yeah, this can be used as a closure tool. So two places where I personally would generally use the levels of transformation is either in the beginning if they are finding it difficult to do the soft C, then it becomes a prelude to soft C. Or this will be the last thing that I will do with them in a session, in a complete therapy session, and I'll ask them to practice this with themselves every day. Once every day, they do the levels of transformation on their own. Any other question on this?
No.
Yes,
No.
no, are we good?
Yeah. No.
Perfect. So is levels of transformation completely clear for us? It's a very powerful process, huh? Matlab, when you again do it correctly, actually I can say that for almost every process that we have, but when done correctly in the right context, matlab, the experience that people have in the circle of oneness. I've had people telling me that Nitin, I've done everything else in my life from spiritual groups to powerful meditations, but what you experience in that final circle, it can be really, really difficult to describe in any other way. Right? But that's where your skill as a therapist comes in, because you are the one who's building up that circle. While you're asking the client to make it as powerful as they can, but your play of words, your tonality, all of that makes a lot of difference. Clear till here?
Yes.
Brilliant. So then I think we are done for today's session. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I think we are good to go today. We're finished sooner, which is nice. And you already know of the different initiatives that we have, the activities that we are doing. Please help us spread the word. The anxiety support group really, really needs all of you to share it in probably every second day in your network, because there are enough people around you, around me, who probably need help with anxiety, especially in the current situation. Right? So maybe if possible, make it a habit that every morning you wake up, you go to your social media and just share the anxiety support group ka link once. The True Talk is turning out to be quite well. While for most of you, True Talks will be basic because you've all done the same courses. The information comes from the same course that we are covering, and all of you have undergone that. But if you have your family members who you have always wanted to explore something like this, but they felt that this is too technical, then levels of then the True Talks may actually be very, very well designed for them. Because we are talking things in layman's language. It's still in English, but still, apart from the language, the terminology and everything is made very simple for people to apply it in their own life.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for being there today, and I'll see you next week again. For those of you who are a part of the other support group, I'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.